And this is KEXU 96.1 FM, back at Pole People's Revolutionary Radio. I'm JV with Brother Aztlan Native, co-hosting today on Free Aztlan. And I want to thank you, Brother Aztlan Native, for coming back into the studio with us today.
Absolutely.
Very important information to share. And it's been it's been what it's been, and we got lots of stuff going on. Brother Aztlan Native's been real busy in the field as well, and we've been going through a lot of different things, and there's a lot of struggles and stuff like this, but we push through all that, and we're here, brother, right? And we pushing forward. And we've been pushing forward through all of this for a minute, and here we are, and we still here, and this is where all the magic began. Remember, me and the brother, we came together right here on sacred land, homefulness here at Poor Magazine, and this is the Poor Familia that we love so much. We've been here through the thick of it, through the good and the bad, and we're still here. And we got a big announcement to make today, and we're gonna make that in a minute. But first, we want to talk about, there's some stuff in Aztlan Native. I know you're gonna fill us in on some more projects as well. First, I want to get to the Chicano news service, and I just want to mention, as we discussed, the so-called, oppressor in chief, unquote, President Biden has announced that, he stands with the African Union. It's just incredible. These, it's almost like, they orchestrate the assassination of Malcolm X and then name a street after him and, come out with these holidays. This is what they do. The oppressor, they're very, very skillful at what they do in order to deceive the people. Now he's saying that he issues a statement that, America supports the African Union, and so we wanted to put this in context for the listeners, what America does is they attempt to in the geopolitical world, the big landscape out there, it's like a chessboard, and what they mean by this is, it's almost like as we exist here in the United States, where they will tell us we're free to pick this oppressor or that oppressor. That's not freedom. Because if we were free, we would be free to choose to be free, liberated from America on this occupied territories that we stand on. But, and when it comes to the African Union, what they're saying is, it's almost like a chessboard. If you could envision a chessboard, you could envision, America saying, well, I want the horse and the castle to move to the right. Now, they may not literally own the horse and the castle, but what they will do is the players that are moving the horse and the castle pieces, they will get in a situation with them either through outright intimidation or force, or coercion, and say, hey, we need you to move to the right, the horse and the castle. And if you do that, we will move, our rook, we will move our queen and our pawns to the right when you want us to move to the right. So it's not a matter of them supporting the African Union. It's a matter of them attempting to control the geopolitical landscape in order to make their moves on another level. I should say, and we should say that the African people, they don't need any U.S. Colonizer in chief to tell them or to support anything. Freedom is freedom, and people should not be coerced into moving this way or that way. We don't here at Free Aztlan, we do not believe or buy into this move about supporting the African Union when all they're doing is attempting to have more military bases on the African continent, as they did to us here on our continent. And this is what they do all around the world. It's a big chess game. So, this is big news in the, corporate media and the world news, and people are talking about it, making a big fuss about it. We see right through that. It's very important that we are able to analyze these statements and, everything that's coming out in the media for what it really is, and not be, fed snake oil and bamboozled into believing the hype of U.S. imperialism or their propaganda arms, aka corporate medias. This is why it's very important to have media, independent media, like here at PNN Radio, Free Aztlan, and many of the other shows here, programs here on the broadcast. But this is very important that we understand this, that America is not standing with the African people. African people are amongst the oppressed nations people in these internal colonies who have been subjected to years of genocide, generations of genocide, kidnappings, land theft, murder, everything you can think of. So anything that they have to say on the topics of oppressed nations people here in the internal colonies or around the world, we do not believes or subscribe to any of their nonsense. We wanted to be clear on this because it's something big. It's big news. That's one thing. The second thing that from the Chicano news service that we wanted to announce, very important, is the founding. And this is groundbreaking. This is historical. Never in the history of the Chicano nation, of Aztlan, of the oppressed nations here on this continent, has this formation ever took place. But we want to announce here the founding of the very first Communist Party of Aztlan, the Communist Party of Aztlan, CPA, MLM. And this is a Marxist-Leninist Maoist formation, and I'll break that down very quickly. Marxist-Leninist Maoist, very important. This deals with the ideological grounding in which this organization, the Communist Party of Aztlan, has been formed. This is very important because this directs the organization, which way it will move forward. Marxism, it comes from, of course, this is a communist organization, unapologetically. This is not a liberal. This is not a church group who passes out sandwiches and coat drives. This is a communist party. This is a revolutionary organization that is organizing to seize power. Straight up, and so today we are in the realm of building consciousness, raising awareness. This is what the CPA sees itself as doing. That's one thing. And it will continue to support efforts of other entities, especially Republic of Aztlan, in doing so and providing an ideological center for the Chicano movement, and which we feel there is no ideological center without the Republic of Aztlan and the CPA. Many other organizations would differs us from other organizations, for the listeners, is that many other organizations, they talk this rhetoric of revolution, and we're revolutionary nationalists. And yet, when it comes to voting, they want to go vote for, who's going to be president of the United Snakes, the occupying illegal entity that has oppressed Chicano, Black Nation, and First Nations people since the incipient of their arrival on this continent. So this is the first thing. This is what differs us. You're never going to see any member of the Communist Party of Aztlan run for president, run for governor, run for mayor. We see the political structures of this country as illegal. They have no jurisdiction. They have no legal realm. The courts are totally illegal, have no kind of jurisdiction over our people. Of course, they get to send us to prison. Of course, they get to incarcerate. That does not make it legal. That does not make it morally right. Nazi Germany, the Nazis were in power. They had the supreme authority in order to imprison, to incarcerate, to issue out the death penalty. Yes, they did to Jewish people. Was that legal? Was it legal in the people's eyes around the world? Hell no. It was an illegal occupying force. Some thought they would take the entire world. They would have had it not been for the Soviet Union, who saved the world's behinds by coming in and smashing fascism, the first Antifas. So let me just say this. Just because somebody's in power does not make it a legal entity. It's an illegal occupation that we are under, that we have been under, that we are organizing under. And so this is very, very important. And so the CPA sees, as I said, Marxism, taking the communist ideology coming from Marx. Leninism, understanding that a revolutionary movement cannot be successful without a party. That's the second step. That's the gift that Lenin gave to the people, to all movements, revolutionary movements around the world. Has to be a party. If there is no party and there's only an uprising, if there's only a revolution, we can look to Egypt and to what the state, the oppressors called, quote unquote, the Arab Spring. The Arab Spring was an uprising, a revolution. They overthrew the existing power in Egypt. They had no political party at the helm. They had no political party leading this movement, this revolution. And as a result, what happened? The military came in, took power. Thank you, gracias, for your efforts for moving them out of the way. Now we're in power. And that's what will happen here on these illegal shores if there was a revolution with no party at the helm. If there was no party, what would happen is there would be a revolution. The revolution would overthrow the existing government. They would be gone. And then the military would come in, or some other fascist entity or revisionist entity, those folks who call themselves revolutionary, and then send their members or tell their members to go vote for president of the U.S. So this is what happens when there is no revolutionary party at the helm in leading the movement. This is very important. Has to be a party, a revolutionary party, not no revisionist, Uncle Tom, Tío Tomas type entity who is, bringing people in to vote for the oppressor, the colonizer. That's the second thing. Lenin gave us that tenet of there has to be a party, a political party, revolutionary party at the helm. That's why we're Leninists. Maoists, we believe that, the Maoist line is the leading line that will bring all oppressed nations here on this continent, to liberation. we could see on this continent, Mao, even though he was there in the third world, his formula is applicable. We're not dogmated. We know that we're not in China. That's absurd. And people who have not studied Maoism don't understand the tenets of Maoism. That's one of the arguments they throw. Well, they're dogmatists. They're not in China. Nobody said that. And Mao himself said, don't do the same thing we're doing in China. Have it, to your environment, your circumstances in your country. And that's why the Filipino people, the New People's Army, are Maoists. That's why they're developing. They're the longest, at this point, I believe, the longest fighting force, fighting the Filipino government, the New People's Army. They've been fighting over 50 years and building base areas, liberated zones in the jungles of Philippines. And this is why in India we have the Maoists fighting. This is why in Peru we have the Maoists fighting, the Shining Path. Fighting, and other elements fighting as well. Maoism has sprung up everywhere. And, even if we look to people like Che Guevara, a lot of people, Che Guevara, but have they understood his line, his understanding of the world struggles of his time, even though it was a long time ago? Che Guevara said at the time, that he was very disappointed in the Soviet Union and that he felt that Mao had the strongest line. He even told Castro in Cuba, to follow a Maoist economy there in Cuba instead of the Soviet style. And of course, Castro went with the Soviet style, and thus the many problems that came. So we believe that Maoism is the line that will lead us to liberation. If those of you who got the Chicano Power book, Chicano Power and the Struggle for Aztlan, this is a Chicano Maoist book. This book was written utilizing Maoist ideology and applying it to the Chicano nation here in the first world. So this book is an example of anti-dogma, and so people who say dogmatists, they're dogma. It tells us they don't even understand what the hell dogma is, and they're parroting people who have, looked up on Wikipedia. They have not been in political educational study groups for years or decades like we have, and so they have no understanding of how dogma is supposed to be applied, what Maoism looks like, and this book, once again, Chicano Power and the Struggle for Aztlan, is a Chicano Maoist book that applied Maoism to Aztlan in the first world, in the 21st century, 22nd century. So this is the book that we believe is applying Maoism today for Aztlan. And so those are just the basic, very, very basic fundamentals of MLM, Marxism, Leninism, Maoism. And this is a very important step forward for Aztlan. Never in the history of the Chicano nation has there ever been a communist party of Aztlan. If you look at any country in the world that has acquired national liberation, they've always formulated a communist party. China, when they were fighting Kuomintang, the Chinese nationalist pro-imperialist forces in China, they formed the Communist Party of China, organized, engaged in the Civil War and overthrew the pro-American roaders. When you look at Cuba, the Communist Party of Cuba arose, and helped to guide the movement that, had overthrown, the existing oppressive pro-U.S. power. If you look to, any country in the world where power has been seized, a revolutionary power, a socialist revolution, you will see that it was a communist power, a communist party that guided the revolution in China. When they had their revolution fighting U.S. imperialism, it was the Communist Party of Vietnam that helped to guide the forces forward. In any country in the world where there has been national liberation through a socialist revolution, it has been through a communist party of those people. And we feel that it's very important that we not have a multinational communist party, as some of the Trotskyite groups would suggest. We believe that Aztlan has to have, just as China had the Chinese Communist Party, Cuba had the Cuban Communist Party, the Vietnam Communist Party of Vietnam, all of the countries who acquired national liberation. We believe that Aztlan is no different. We also need a Communist Party of Aztlan. This is what we need. This is what will help guide the revolution when it comes. And the revolution may not come next year. It may not come in 10 years. It may not come in our lifetime. But today is groundbreaking in the founding of the Communist Party of Aztlan. It's never been done. This is a very, very, very sacred message that we're delivering. Had to be delivered on Radio Free Aztlan. Of course, voice of the Chicano Nation, we are here, we're giving it to you. And in the coming days, we will be releasing some documents when the Central Committee is done with them. They will be released to the people. And so this is this is another era that we are entering in. We believe that the people are ready for a communist party within the Chicano Nation. There is no communist party within the Chicano Nation today. All we have so far that we've seen any kind of organizing has been to vote for Biden, vote for Obama. We haven't seen Chicano people have a communist party that directs them. We do not partake in any voting, within this illegal occupation. It's an oxymoron. You will never see Communist Party of Aztlan supporting anybody running for these Uncle Tom offices, these Chicano Tío Tomás offices. We are getting off the plantation. We are directing our people, leave the plantation. Come this way, follow us off the plantation. We are not going to stay on the plantation. Mazza can fend for himself. And, all of the Mazza's supporters, they'll get the wall as well when that day arrives. When that day arrives, they are going to line up right next to him. It doesn't matter what their rhetoric is. It doesn't matter what their costume is. It doesn't matter, what
Juliana
they do.
Juliana Castro.
Juliana.
None of them.
None of them.
We don't want none of them. So they can take them back.
Absolutely. And what do you feel about this, brother? Why is this important? This
It's important because they're going to try to bring a Julian Castro, and just like they did with Obama, try to soothe the African nation for all the damage that's been done culturally, and it's not going to happen. We're not going to support any voting, any of that electoral college votes. The people's vote never mattered. And so no Julian Castro. They're going to try to soothe the Chicano nation by releasing some kids in cages and think that we're going to just believe in America. It's not going to happen. And that's what it is.
And brother, let me just ask you, when this Julian, you brought up a good point. Julian is a good focal point because everybody remembers Julian. But let me ask you, when Julian was running for colonizer-in-chief, besides Radio Free Aztlan, besides the Republic of Aztlan, was there any Chicano organizations stepping out and saying, don't vote for this, Tío Tomás, do not vote for? Was there any other organizations doing that?
I didn't see any. It seems like everyone was whitewashed or something because we're the only ones really pushing this, and this is what it's supposed to be.
Absolutely, and they wanted to see brown face. They're bought off by brown faces in high places, and we ain't buying that.
It's not gonna happen.
It's not going to happen. And we even said here on the show, if any Chicano organization promotes Julian Castro or even Governor, the chief colonizer of California, we said if any Chicano organization publicly, endorses a Chicano candidate for governor, we said we're gonna publicly, verbally blast them for a whole year on Radio Free Aztlan. Their organization's gonna get it. They're gonna get the business on the air for a whole year. We're gonna every show, we're gonna drag them through the dirt, expose them as pro-imperialist, capitalist roaders and traitors of the Chicano nation who have committed treason. And there's a lot of people who committed treason to the Chicano nation, let me just say, working with the oppressor and working with the colonizer and settler, and they want to talk about settler this and settler that. And then they want to run to the settler and provide the settler, with, material against revolutionary folks, really, and made up material at that.
It's all comedy, man. I mean, Trump running again and all this stuff. This is comedy, really. We are not entertaining that. Like I said, our vote never mattered. We don't care if you brought a Chicano candidate. We don't care. We don't want to see him. Get him up out of there. And
Absolutely.
It's time for change, man.
Time for real change, transformation. And so we're going to take a short break. We're going to hear this song. It's about 2-3 minutes long. And this is from an up-and-coming, musician here from the Bay Area, Khalifa Aztlan, Mimi from the Bay. And we're going to hear that this young brother right here comes from, barrio royalty, movement royalty, this young performer. So we're going to hear this song real quick. It's called Lost. And some of y'all are lost, especially, the Theo Tomases. You got to stop endorsing colonizer and chiefs. And here it is. We'll be back in a minute. And so we're back here at Free Aztlan, me and comrade Aztlan Native. Welcome once again, brother.
Revolutionary greetings. That was a slap right there.
It was. They got a lot of musicians coming out. we gotta link them up with you, brother. And you guys gotta. And I had a request too. Somebody else wanted to link up with you and make something. So we gotta. And I'll talk to you about to you with you after. But I wanted to tell. We're gonna play one of your songs next. This is that 500 years, and I just wanted you to, tell us a little bit about it, brother, because as I've said before, in my opinion, there is nobody making within the Chicano nation making the revolutionary music that you make. You're top of the food chain when it comes to revolutionary culture within Aztlan. When you were writing this 500 years, what were you? I know a little bit. You talked about before what kind of propelled you to do it. But let me ask you, once it was done, do you how do you feel about this song? Because you know it took me. I felt it in the beginning, but it took me. I had to keep hearing it to really like, man, brother, you struck straight to the heart of a lot of repression. What were your thoughts after you did it, brother?
So 500 years later, it's just shining light on the advanced technology that these entities have been using on the people to oppress us, to keep us down, to manipulate us, to continue their tyrannical behavior. Police use this technology. They use that thermal image light, to see through our cars, to skeleton our car, to see if we have anything that they can pull us over for, and it might be something that looks like a weapon or something, so they'll pull us over just to check, just to make sure. But this has been happening in different ways, and I've been a victim of it. I know we all have been a victim of it, and doing time and being behind those walls and knowing that these mother been doing this to us all these years, you know what I mean? And exposing us to this radiation, to these frequencies that they don't let us know, you know what I mean? What they're really, the health complications that this causes on us, and wondering why, we're dying at a younger age. The human race is going through this. This is a global attack on humanity. And it's the microwave, the whole microwave, it's no secret now that some people are exposing it and shining light on it. But this is damaging our bodies, and you should look into it. Anybody that is serious about this, man, this is really going on. And it's advanced technology that they've been using, and so I'm shining light on that with 500 years. And we've been going through this 500 years plus, and it's time for us to, get this self-determination.
Absolutely. And we're going to be listening to that song real quick, and we'll be coming back. 500 Years by Aztlan Native, right here, our artist in residence, Radio Free Aztlan, and here it is. We'll be back in a minute.
Disqualified. Let's see.
This is the right one?
We're gonna let this one play, and then good play.
Oh, this is the whole album? My bad, bro. Hey.
Just stop that.
Let it play. This is good.
It's already been over 5 minutes since he stopped breathing. Now they're giving him CPR. Go mouth to mouth, and he's still handcuffed as they pump his chest to the ground. Say his name like George Floyd, Mario Gonzalez. I can't breathe.
Play that one right after.
Mario Gonzalez. I can't breathe. Now who's that 911 calling? Say it's de-escalation. They all hypertension. Every city, every county, every state across the nation. Violating our rights without no probable cause. Reasonable, articulable suspicion. I broke the law. No, not at all. So quick to profile. Tell all killer pigs like right now. Cop my Josh on YouTube. Let's cop my the cat. Swine canine one time killer 3 attacks. Qualifying immunity murders. What they can do to me with a license to kill 2 black
that'd be right there. No. Yeah.
This one's
The feds watch me, Samsung, Sony, and attacks. Shaking these agent provocateurs and paparazzis. Everybody wanna be rich like a Nazi, but I never sell my soul for anybody. My whole life for any amount of money that came too far to let the people just take it from me. They tryna wrap me up like all the past mummies. So if I die, you know who took that last breath from me. The same people that's trying to get you to vaccinate. Corporate video 19 assassination. Government phones, they hovering over our home. Airplanes, helicopters, jets, and drones. Satellites, they love to come out every night. Just to watch our every move and prepare an indictment. Thermal imaging pretty much see through anything. Electromagnetic pulse colored EMP. They're jamming our immune system with these frequencies. So they can pinpoint our location more than frequently. And look at all the places that we frequently be. Smart meter cell towers, AT&T. They're jamming our immune system with these frequencies. So they can pinpoint our location more than frequently. And look at all the places that we frequently be. Smart meter cell towers, AT&T. Xfinity antennas hiding in the trees. There's a hidden agenda they don't want us to see. Either the silent weapons for quiet moves, weather modification, full quiet storm, collecting biometric data, facial recognition, and it all gets sent to the same cloud that the feds get. Hacking our phones, no expectation of privacy. They're using clones now, no baby or pregnancy. Antennas camouflaged all in the tree. There's a hidden agenda they don't want us to see. They're using silent weapons for quiet move, weather modification, full quiet storm, respiratory complications like a kid trail, nanofibers, nanoparticles, we inhale. They attached to your lung, take your last breath. That boy died young, took his last breath. There's a NASA report document straight out of hell. A PowerPoint presentation, my name is Bush Nail. Circle 2025, the future is now. Circle 2025, the future is now. There's a NASA report document. A PowerPoint presentation, my name is Bush Nail. Circle 2025, the future is now. Circle 2025, the future is now.
And we're back here at Radio Free Aztlan. I'm JV and back here with Aztlan Native. Thank you once again, brother.
Revolutionary greetings. We had a little technical difficulties there, but we got to squeeze in disqualify immunity. That was to Mario Gonzalez and Augie Gonzalez, and all the rest of them killed by pig terror.
Absolutely. And pig terror is real. I wanted to mention quickly, when this last time I was kidnapped, one of the tactics that the pigs used, and I wanted to throw it out there for the people to know what they're doing, how they're doing it, in order to guard yourself, in order to protect yourself, defend yourself. As I was walking I was arrested. For those of you that don't know, I was arrested in the morning while I was walking to my vehicle. As I got about 2 steps away from my vehicle, my phone rang. My phone rang, and so of course I answered it like anybody else, and I didn't know who it was. Now after I reflected on it, I said, the pigs use this tactic. I need to let the people know. I need to inform the people. Now, as I answered the phone and I was like, who's this? And the person was trying to keep me on the phone. Oh, can I speak to so-and-so? And I was in my vehicle now. And I was like, who is this? And the person kept talking and that did a couple of things. And as I went back, I had to analyze the whole kidnapping, the whole situation. And they did that for 2 reasons. For one, they did it to take my attention off because my awareness is on point. I'm, 24/7, I'm on full alert, and I'm ready, and I'm prepared. So I'm looking around, I'm looking, okay, I don't see nothing, everything's, and then this phone and calls. So it took my awareness off of, me scanning the area, me doing my basic security
Perimeter check.
steps, absolutely, and I won't go into that. But I do certain things anytime I leave anywhere, and so it took me off of that. It distracted me. That's when they pulled up. They came from behind, they came from the side, they boxed me in their death trap, like they did to brother brother Dominguez, Jacob Dominguez. They boxed him in order to, in a kill zone, and then they executed him. So they boxed me in this kill zone. And so my awareness was off. By the time I realized it, they already boxed me in. And then the call was meant to do something else. It was meant to do something else, something more sinister. And I felt that I had to let the listeners know, because as I had this phone on, the pig pulls out his gun and he draws down on me, pointing it at my head. Now, when he does this, I have the phone on. I have two choices. Do I, and of course I dropped the phone, but before I dropped it, I realized my phone is open. I opened up my phone to communicate with this pig who was acting like, so as my phone is open, that's what they wanted. They wanted to get me with my phone open so they could go through all my information, quote unquote, legally, and use it in a court of law in any way that they feel they can. And then they wanted it open because what do you do if you drop your phone because somebody points a gun at you and you realize your phone's open? What if normal people are going to probably try to reach down to close their phone, right? Well, because they have the body cam on, when I put my hands down to lock my phone, like hang it up, what's going to happen? He's going to let off on me, kill me. And then on body cam, he reached for a weapon, right?
Exactly.
So this was very important. When I analyzed it a couple of times with a few different people, and they were walking me step by step, and then what happened, and then what happened, and we were discussing every step that occurred, and they brought it to my attention and said, you know what, that was purposely done because I was like, luckily, I was able to, when I was reaching for the door, with one hand, the other hand, I locked my phone. Luckily, I hit that button, and they said, well, they did that for a couple of reasons. One, to have your phone open. If you have your hands up, you're going to get out of the car, the hell with my phone. I'm trying to stay alive. And then they're going to have my phone open and do what they do. Now, another thing is, had I said, oh, damn, and reached for my phone, he would have let off on me. So they did that purposely. Call him when he's about to get on the phone for different reasons. Keep his, keep his vigilance, dull his vigilance. Also, keep that phone open, and hopefully he reaches for it or tries to, and we just see him reach down for anything, we assassinate him. So they do this, they've been doing it so long. Why else are they going to call somebody right when they're going to put the gun to their head? So they know what they're doing. They have orchestrated assassination, murder so many times. They got it down to an art form. And so it bothered me so much. I told some folks, you know what, I'm going to throw that out there on the radio, because of if people are, getting swarmed by the pigs, I want them to be aware of that. So for those who've had family, and also this, for those who've had family members murdered by the pigs, and even on body cam, if it shows their hands going down, I like to review. I would suggest that family review the phone records, go to the phone companies, Metro or whatever it is, ask for those records. Was the phone on during that time? if the phone was on, was it from a number that the person knows? Was it from an unknown number? I would ask the lawyers to subpoena the records of that phone number, where it came from, because of the pigs are purposely calling people right before they pull them over. It's a possibility that they've, they've orchestrated, they've premeditated hundreds, if not thousands, of murders across these false U.S. borders.
Those are tactics. Yeah,
those are murder
assassinate
tactics,
us,
kill tactics.
I mean, he's reaching for a weapon, and it was his phone.
Exactly.
Like Augie Gonzalez, he had a little blade in his hand. I mean, the officer had a chance to, tase him. He gave him 7 seconds and shot him 13 times. I mean, ridiculous. Like, this is a tactic that they use to assassinate us. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Calling us as soon as you answer the phone, startle us. Boom. He's reaching for a weapon.
Yeah.
Boom. We're done. And qualified immunity will give that pig, a license to kill, and he'll get away with this. Not even a slap on the wrist. And I mean, we're done.
We're done.
That's important to address to the people. Like, that we need to understand this and know that this is going on. It's an ongoing occurrence.
Mm-hmm.
And so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bust out have your phone in your hand if you know that they're coming. But in this situation, I mean, you didn't even know they were coming, and you're lucky to be here today.
Absolutely, yeah.
Blessed.
And I take that as, that was very serious. Some who I've told the story to have said that was an attempt on my life. By different entity, different people. Because we know here at Poor Magazine, a book was actually written called Never Call 911 Ever.
Never.
Never. And we stand by that book. We love that book. We believe in that book. You don't do that. And why was that book written? Because so many people have called 911. Oh, this person, this and this person. And what happens? They come in and murder the people. So for anybody to do that, knowing the history of the pigs, of pig terror, knowing that they come through in murder, and for somebody to still do that, to me is highly suspect. And to others who've, heard this story, I would say at least 4 people have said that was an attempt to have you murdered, point blank, period. And so, I'm not going to go that far and say that. That's what others have said. And, I think that some may agree that that is, highly probable. I would just say that be careful, folks. Be careful. Know that, there's situations going on and people laugh and this and that. But, until it happens to them, they ain't going to be laughing. This is serious, and when you're put in that situation, I think that that's when people will realize, like, they might laugh now, like, this guy's talking about this, man, that sounds funny, but let that happen to them and see if it's funny. To me, playing with people's lives is not funny, especially with pig terror. Pig terror is a real thing. I've said it before. My primo, Robert Mendez, was murdered by San Jose PD, 1971. And this is a real thing. My family has, and this is before I was born. My entire family grew, since the day I was born. I've known what pig terror was and how it affected my family. And, and we all know somebody who's, been, affected by pig terror. So it's real. But brother, we got a few minutes left.
That's what Cop Watch Aztlan is all about, is holding these pigs accountable, being in their face with the camera, letting them know that we're watching. Give me your name and badge number, sir. Period. We need your name and badge number. You are a public servant. And we don't trust you, so we need all that. And
all of that.
You have to record anytime you see the police. Never call 911.
Never.
Free Aztlan.
Never. Call the people. Don't call the pig. And
alternatives to calling 911.
Absolutely. You know, call all the people you need to, all the organizations you need to, but never call the pig. You know, not if you call yourself a freedom fighter, revolutionary, or activist, or what have you. You know better than that. You know, so you know, and that's something that we got to continue to teach our people, because you know, obviously some people think that's okay and it's not. And so you know, we got to remember this. And you know, brother, I just want to say, you know what Cop Watch Aztlan is doing is a beautiful thing. And where could people find Cop Watch Aztlan?
On YouTube, Cop Watch with a K, Cop Watch Aztlan, and check it out on YouTube. You'll see how I approach, you know, these tyrants, and get them to give me their name and badge numbers, and you know, protect the people, advocate for the people getting arrested or being stopped, pulled over, or whatnot. Always record the police.
Always.
And that's
Always.
what we do.
Yeah, and you know, we continue to do that, and we'll do it till we can. But you know, brother, I just want to say we're gonna be leaving with this last song of yours. Well, what's the name of it? You want to introduce it?
This is Real G. It's you know, I wrote this. It's gonna be on the album Operation Bluebird, and you know, this is shining light on, you know.
There's a bluebird on my
do.
shoulder.
Can I kill it?
So we're gonna be listening to this Real G right here by yours, you know, the brother Aztlan Native, and you know, we're gonna hear it, and we're gonna be signing off, and we're gonna be in next week. You're gonna be in the studio.
Be next week for sure.
Brother's gonna be in here co-hosting next week. Aztlan Native, we're back at it once again, you know, and we're getting it. We're out here in the field, and we're gonna continue to do this. So we'll see you all next week, and don't forget, struggle forward. Omadeo.
Omadeo. Aztlan Native, the Chicano Che Guevara.